Hello, it's Angie Atkinson, certified life coach, author, and survivor. Today at queenbeing.com, we're going to discuss no contact and exactly why it's so hard to go no contact and how you can get through it in one piece and successfully. Let's get started. Okay, so like I said, my name is Angie Atkinson. I am a certified life coach, an author, and a survivor. I am also the primary writer at queenbeing.com, which is where you can find many, many free resources, tips, and all kinds of good stuff for survivors of narcissistic abuse in relationships. This includes a support group that you can join for free, which is called SPAN, and you can learn about that at queenbeing.com/SPAN. You can also go to booksangiewrote.com to check out several books I've written directly about this topic and related topics. Plus, you can go to narcissismsupportcoach.com to learn more about how to get personalized coaching as well as how to sign up for a free 5-day email course that I designed specifically for narcissistic abuse survivors. Okay, let's go. So, like I said, today we're talking about narcissistic abuse recovery. Why is it so hard to go no contact and what you can do about it? So you're considering going no contact with your narcissist or you've already done it. Hey, let me tell you first, congratulations. You're finally on your way to taking back your life. Are you ready to leave now or have you already left? Or maybe you're still kind of trying to decide what to do. Well, in any case, you need to know something important. It really isn't your fault that you feel so drawn to your abuser. So, why do you still want your narcissist when he was so terrible to you or she? How could you possibly miss a person who abused you so relentlessly? And why is it so hard to go no contact? All right, well, since you're here reading this or watching this video, you probably have already figured out that you are or were in a toxic relationship with a narcissist. And of course, you also know that you need to at least consider going no contact if you ever want to be happy again, right? But also, as I'm assuming that you know, that's really a lot easier said than done, and that's especially true when the person in question is a close friend or a family member or especially I think a significant other, but really anyone who's been a part of your regular life. Imagining going to a place where that person isn't in your life anymore, it's incredibly stressful, and it is a stressful change. But in my own experience, when you have gone no contact, I mean, the weight that sits on your shoulders and your chest and makes you feel so, almost dead, it goes away. Suddenly everything's lighter and suddenly you can get through things a lot better and suddenly you're happy and you don't even know what happened. It's crazy. So, in case you're not aware of what no contact is in regard to narcissistic relationships, I'm just going to define it for you very quickly. I know everybody's at different levels of education at this point, but what I mean when I'm talking about no contact is what I'm about to describe to you, okay? So let's start with the basic rules of what no contact is. So, the no contact rule defined. Simply put, the no contact rule is enacted when you end all contact with a toxic narcissist. And this includes, but isn't limited to, the following conditions. Okay. So you're going to stop taking the narcissist phone calls. You're going to stop calling him, of course. You're going to block the person, him or her, on all social media networks. Okay. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever you do. You're going to not schedule or encourage any visits with the narcissist. This is going to feel really hard if he is or she is the one who left you, but bear with me on this, okay? You're going to stop seeing, speaking to, or in any way interacting with him or her, okay? And those are the basic rules. And obviously, it doesn't seem like rocket science, but why is it so hard to interact, to enact that and actually stick to it in your life? Why does it feel so impossible sometimes? Well, it's because you're addicted. It's toxic love addiction. This is the primary reason that going no contact is so hard. And look, it's not just something that I made up, it is legitimate science. Let me talk about it, right? So, you know, probably that I wrote a book called Your Love is My Drug. If you don't know, you can take a peek at that at booksangiewrote.com. But anyway, The thing is, there's a scientific basis for the title. Okay, I didn't just think it sounded awesome. I mean, let's be cool and get real. It's kind of awesome for a title, but but really, the scientific basis is there. So, and here's what it is. Researchers say that romantic love is a physical addiction, as in it does affect your brain just like an actual drug. Even in anything. Anyway, so logically, you're not, you shouldn't be doing things that are bad for you, like drugs and overeating and smoking and drinking and whatever else you do, right? Or don't do. But toxic people are actually bad for our lives in the same kind of way that drugs and overindulgence of any sort are. And that's that we know we need to get away from that person, but it's just always not that easy. We know we need to get away from, drinking too much coffee or too many beers or too many, eating too many cupcakes, whatever. It's just very hard sometimes to walk away from something like that. Okay. I did write a book. One of the books that I wrote about this is Take Back Your Life: 103 Highly Effective Strategies to Snuff Out a Narcissist Gaslighting and Enjoy the Happy Life You Really Deserve. And that is really going to be great for people who are either still in the relationship or who have been just out not that long and they need to really, directly attack this issue. Okay, but the thing is that romantic love and any kind of love, but this particular study that I'm talking about focused specifically on romantic love, okay? But on the same token, before I continue, I need you to know that the type of love that you feel for your mother, or the type of love that you feel for your best friend who you've known since you're 4 years old, those types of love have very similar types of addictive qualities, right? Obviously, and some of that is especially when it comes to family relationships, is just a huge sense of like almost obligation. Okay, but at this point, the study that I'm talking about was focused on romantic love. Okay, so the scientists found that we are biologically related to behave that way, to be addicted to one another. Okay, so you have to see the evolutionary spin in all of this. It's when you get to the point where the loss of a potential baby making mate is bad for us as a species, right? If you look at it from that primary, or that, what is it, primitive, perspective, right? On top of that, humans are hardwired to develop bonds to other humans. It's obviously another survival urge. If you think before we had all of the conveniences and we don't struggle for much today when it comes to food, water, clothing, shelter. Most of us, we have the basics, even if it's not always as nice as we would like. We have them. So when you get to that place, and you start to think about, well, millions of years ago, people needed, each other to stay warm in the night and not die. Of course you're going to feel great distress if, on a primitive level, and when your primitive self is involved. Sometimes it's very hard for your higher self to see things the way they really are. Okay, so let's talk about that. So, of course, it affects you like a drug. Your relationship with a toxic person affects you like a drug, and when you're not getting that sweet, sweet poison, you just might miss it. Just like a crack addict or an alcoholic might miss his or her fix. Okay, so I thought that was kind of amazing when I read that. So, if you visit, I should have linked that for you. If you visit queenbeing.com and click on the resources page, you will see plenty of additional information that's available to you about narcissism and narcissistic abuse recovery, and it's all free. Okay, or most of it anyway, and what isn't free is very inexpensive. So before we go on to the next section of today's video, just take a moment and ask yourself a question. Based on this knowledge, do you see how your narcissist might kind of feel like a drug to your brain? If I'd love it if you'd share your thoughts and experiences with me on that in the comments section. Okay, so let's talk about how to heal your mind to heal your heart. And I'm not just talking about your emotional heart here. Stick with me. Um, so the thing is, another study in the Journal of Behavioral Medicine has indicated that once anxiety and depression sets in, and these are of course both symptoms of, in addition to several other symptoms of CPTSD or PTSD, which complex post-traumatic stress disorder is often part of what survivors of narcissistic abuse go through. Okay, so when you get there, you've you're unleashing the possibility that you might even just develop heart disease or any number of other physical issues. And look, I'm just going to ask you a question. Do you really want to let this continue to kill you? My guess is that if you're going no contact, or you've been no contact, you're continuing to go no contact, you know, you're doing that because you want a better life. And if you're going to keep letting this person affect you now, you're really literally letting them continue to kill you. So I want you to start to take back your life. I want you to start to look at this from a whole new perspective, okay? So, all the information I'm about to share with you is not meant to scare you. It is meant to help you realize how very serious it is that you take back your life and you stop allowing yourself to be abused, in the same home or in a different home or in a new life. Do not let this person abuse you anymore. This is why, just one more reason, besides the fact that you deserve to be happy. Stick with me, please. This is worth your time. All right. So we all know that certain factors contribute to heart disease, right? Primarily genetics, and of course, as a society, our poor food consumption or lack of healthy foods in our diet, right? So, but a lot of people never consider that, just sheer stress and anxiety can be an actual source of damage to your body's heart, your physical heart. Okay. Now, you all know you need your heart to live. You need your heart to live. You feel me? If your heart stops beating, if your heart gets broken physically, as in, it stops functioning properly, or you clog an artery, you have a heart attack, you can die. Now, I know a lot of you are young and you think that's not going to happen to me, but sweetie, it can happen to you. Okay, listen to me. Disease and depression and anxiety and stress and general malaise, all of these things can literally kill you. It can literally kill you if you don't stop allowing this narcissist to affect you this way. Please hear me, okay? So the study was done over at the University of Queensland in Australia, and it focused on women over 40 who did experience great stress, but who had no sign of heart disease. Okay, so at this point, they're over 40, no sign of heart disease. Now, over time, the depression and the anxiety seems to have been a factor in the development of heart disease. So it was a 15-year, study, and they looked at how heart disease developed in these women. So researchers were looking for both depression and anxiety, in this situation combined as a contributing factor. So what they found is that the women who were newly diagnosed with heart disease during the study, well, they were a lot more likely to have both depression and anxiety. So, what scientists concluded is that when you have these types of mental health issues to fight in your life, your nervous system cannot perform accurately. So, when you're depressed, you tend to lack physical activity. You sit around, you don't do as much as you should. You're going to engage in unhealthy food habits, smoking, alcohol addictions, all of these things, and you're going to neglect your overall well being. Okay. So, another study found, and this one was from the Heart Foundation, found that heart attacks can occur from major life traumas, such as the death of someone you love, disasters of like hurricanes, things like that, tornadoes, major disasters that destroy areas of such as your home, things like that, and domestic terror attacks. Of course, this also includes, narcissistic abuse and gaslighting and love bombing and hoovering and all of this stuff, okay? The study also found that chronic stress, which is exactly the type of chronic stress that you will suffer and you are suffering as a result of being involved with a narcissist, especially in women over the age of 45, but none of us are getting any younger. Those things contributed to heart problems. And of course, that doesn't let men off the hook either, but because no study to date has singled out stress as the sole determining factor for having heart disease. But there is no mistaking the fact that it can definitely contribute to it. You feel me? So it could be because depression and anxiety cause poor self care behaviors. That's possible. But one thing doctors know for sure is that a large number of patient visits to the doctor are due to high chronic stress. So, again, high chronic stress causes so many different diseases and conditions that lead to diseases, okay? That fatigue, panic attacks, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and more. And what happens when you get stressed out is that your body experiences a fight or flight reaction. Okay, so that will get your adrenaline pumping and you tense up. Well, then your heart rate soars and fat gets released into your blood because your body's using that to give you, a jolt of energy because, in the times of like the cavemen and all of that, these people they had to go and if they were going to survive they needed that jolt of energy because when they had the fight or flight reaction they literally had to fight or get away from a predator, and that is why your body would want you to jolt into action. And of course this can even make your blood clot easier, but now obviously this wouldn't be a problem for your heart if it's just a once in a while deal, right? But for a lot of people, depression and anxiety is a never ending problem. And listen, listen, listen. That is especially true for you if you are dealing with narcissistic abuse and gaslighting and disrespect and all of the things that go with being part of a narcissist's main circle of support slash supply, right? So you got to rest your heart. You got to give yourself a freaking break if you expect to survive this stuff. And why would you go through all of this and struggle and get out of there and go no contact and have this opportunity to make your life so much better just to die? It's not, don't do this to yourself. It is time for you to take your life back. It is time for you to become the you that you truly deserve and want to be. And if you don't do that, you literally can allow yourself to be killed from afar by this narcissist. Please don't do this to yourself. It shouldn't always be battling increased, it shouldn't always be battling increased blood pressure, a barrage of, cholesterol and rapid heartbeat. Your body can't handle that. What will happen is that your heart might start beating more abnormally more often than not, and your arteries can even thicken. And you know what? That sets you right up for a heart attack or a stroke. Is it really worth it? No, I don't think so. Anyway, let's talk about gauging your stress level for your heart. Okay, so you know if you're good. So you may or may not have an issue where stress, like in the form of depression and anxiety or anything else, is affecting your heart health. But if you're involved with a narcissist, you might deal you just might. And some people, maybe they have minor stress, and I'm guessing those are the people who at this point have gone no contact successfully and have made it through that difficult point, because we all have that moment when we go no contact where we waver. We might have a lot of them. It might take us weeks or months to not waver anymore. But at some point, you're going to wake up in the morning, you're going to, wipe off your face and go outside and look at the sun and go, oh my gosh, I'm actually happy today. This is it. I've made it. I mean, don't you want that moment? I think everybody deserves that moment. All right. So just know that. Some people, are going to be just so overcome with stress at this point that they don't even realize how bad it's become. And if they were to take a step back from outside and look at the situation from the outside, they would just be shocked at what they're actually getting through every day. Okay. So ask yourself if you've been going through a lot of traumatic, nerve wracking, or frustration, in the last year. And things like this could include changing jobs or having stress in an existing job, or even having no job and feeling stressed out about that. It could be having a new baby with a birth or a marriage, or adopting a baby or a child. It could be losing someone that you love or a great friend, whether it's through death or some other way, or a toxic relationship that ends. It could be long health issues, issues that you've been dealing with forever that are just continually, chronically causing trouble for you. And again, a lot of these issues may be caused or exacerbated by the abuse you're dealing with. Okay. Could be struggling in a toxic relationship. This is where we've basically been going for this whole video, right? Could be moving to a new place. Again, can be a side effect of going no contact. Continual stress like daily traffic, things like that. Being sued by someone, going through divorce, going through things like that, struggling with money. Just think about how you have personally, physically felt lately. I mean, really think about it. Stop, slow down, and listen to your body for a minute. You know, we all know stress is evident in our minds, but many times we overlook the physical effects of stress until it's too late. You know what? And if you're burdened by an unhealthy amount of stress, if you take the time to notice those few common stress signs early on, you could save your own life. Okay, here's some ideas. Your jaw might hurt in the morning. That's a sign that you're clenching your jaw or you're grinding your teeth at night. You might suffer from headaches. You might feel stiff in the neck. As stress really takes a toll on your body, the symptoms can get more serious. You might have dizzy spells, insomnia, feelings of panic attacks where your heart is racing, you're sweating, and you just feel nauseous. It's terrible. It's terrible. There are a lot of ways that you can cope with this, and I'm going to share some of them with you today. But of course, if you are dealing with narcissistic abuse, please know that no contact is your option for, redemption. No contact is the only way you're really going to have an opportunity to be fully happy unless you're forced to go low contact because you're, parenting, co-parenting with a narcissist or something like that. Other than that, this is what you can do. Okay. So first of all, if you've made the decision that stress might be the issue for you, then you have to see if you're capable of getting it under control so that your heart is protected and you're not setting yourself up for a heart attack or stroke. So listen, do you see how simple that is? If if you don't want to do it because you want your life to be better, you don't want to do it because you're tired of being abused, you don't want to do it because you're tired of game playing and all of this stuff, do it so you don't die. Okay, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm not trying to be hateful or mean or disrespectful or anything like that. I am telling you, I'm giving you a little tough love today, and I am telling you that if you are in a position where you need to get out or you are in a position where you need to stay out, do it so you don't die. That is a motivation, okay? I've also done another video called 103 things you no longer have to deal with when you go no contact with a narcissist. I will try to remember to link that to this video, but if not, just check my channel. You'll find it there. That video is great. It has helped a lot of people, and it will help you to, kind of change your perspective a little bit. All right? All right. So there are some things that you don't want to do when it comes to managing your stress, right? So don't take the route of asking your doctor to let you pop a pill for it, unless it's your last option. Okay, pills just mask a problem. They don't help you learn to cope. But there's nothing wrong, by the way, with using a doctor approved prescription if you need that to help you get over the hump and to get through the tough moments. There's nothing there's nothing bad about it. So if you speak to your doctor and your doctor recommends that you try it for a short time, just try it. And if that is if your natural remedies aren't doing the trick already, okay? Uh, don't eat more or use special food to make you feel better because I had to go through a very long, a 2 year period where I had to lose the extra 100 pounds I gained thanks to my narcissistic relationship. I wouldn't want you to have to go through the same thing, but if you do, hit up booksangiewrote.com and check out my Project Blissful books, which will explain to you how I got that weight off finally and doing the work from the inside out. Okay, and I did not starve or sweat too much or hate myself. So might be good for you. Anyway, but comfort food that a lot of people use to self-medicate during stress only causes obviously more problems for your health. Okay, so don't turn to alcohol or drugs to ease your anxiety because obviously none of those things will help your heart do better and none of those things are going to help your body at all. So basically, they're going to ruin your life. Not worth it, and can even kill you at times. Exercise alone will help your heart. Of course, it also releases endorphins and helps your stress levels get back to a manageable level. So, if you can squeeze in 20 minutes of exercise a day, you are going to love it. So, that's just one little tip from me to you. Personally, I'm in love with my Fitbit. I need to remember to start competing more again because sometimes I forget to charge it and it's dead for a few days and I feel like what's the point? But I need to remember that and so do you. Something like a Fitbit or even just the pedometer on your phone. It's play little games with yourself and if you do the Fitbit thing you can actually compete with other people. But I think there are actually free apps you can do the same thing with on the Google Play Store and I'm sure the iPhone store as well. So iTunes store, whatever. Okay, obviously I'm an Android girl, but that's irrelevant again. So just, also practice good time management. So if you're rushing around because you're overscheduled or you procrastinate to the point where you're now panicked, a lot of time, a lot of the times that's a bigger stressor than you even know. You might feel like it's a way of life, but if you try to change it, it can just really make you feel so much better about yourself and your life. And quite honestly, a lack of time is one of the top stressors that a lot of people have in their lives. Get some sleep, protect your heart, sleep hygiene, that's a thing. Get enough sleep proper, as much as you can during the evening or the nighttime hours. Now, if you're dealing with working nights or something like that, then you need to readjust as necessary, obviously. But you can't, if you visit queenbeing.com and you search for sleep, you will find several articles that will help you get better sleep. But anyway, you can't function properly and handle stress gracefully when you're not getting enough sleep. It's just not possible. So, so just like getting plenty of sleep can be not getting plenty of sleep can be a problem. It can also be a problem if you get too much sleep, believe it or not, because that's a sign of depression. So you can't get out of bed. If you're having trouble getting out of bed to face the day, you know what? You really might need to get in touch with your doctor and set up an appointment and get some help. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with getting a little bit of medicine if your doctor thinks it's a good idea. So don't let any sort of stigma affect you. If you need to get some Prozac or whatever you need, whatever they prescribe you that works for your body, don't feel like you shouldn't do it, or that it won't make you strong, or something like that. Sometimes being strong, it means just admitting that you need a little help. And if, taking Prozac for a couple months helps you out, do it. I did it. I did it. I think I took it for 6 months as I was going through my divorce. And I'm telling you, you know, I'm not trying to recommend it, but for 6 months, I had a really hard time. And I took the medicine in order to make my life a little bit less overwhelming. And for that time, it helped me. And then when I was finished with it, I knew it. I went to my doctor and I was, weaned off of the antidepressant that I was on. It was nothing real strong. It was just enough to help me to not focus all the time on feeling so sad and upset and stressed out. Okay. And that's what you need to do if that's the case for you. Okay. All right. So next up, eliminate any stress in your life that you can. It's going to make your heart feel better. It's going to make your life better. That might include things like jobs that you can delegate to other, little things that you can delegate at work or home. After school activities, maybe you want to change it up or streamline it for your kids, however you want to work that out. Community commitments, you need to maybe double check, do I really need to, to be on this board? Do I really need to, make all the costumes for the school play this year? Whatever it is, get some help or change your methods. Chores people can help with around the house. If you can afford to pay someone, great. Give your kids allowance. Pay the kid next door to come over and mow your lawn. You know, you can do some of this stuff inexpensively, or promise your kids, you'll bake them their favorite pie if they wash all the dishes or whatever. Just work some stuff out with people. Toxic relationships that bring you down. Here we are again with your narcissist stuff. So, financial struggles. Uh, you know, Basically, what you need to do is you need to start one by one, baby steps. Replace bad habits with good habits. You know, Maybe nutrition doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal when it comes to your stress levels and your heart health, but the truth is that what you're eating really does matter, because when you feel like your energy is drained because maybe you crashed from a sugar high, but you're not tired, right? Well, it makes you really unable to handle stress as well. So it's just another, anytime your body is not running in its peak primary, condition, obviously, you have less resistance to stress, you have less ability to handle it in a way that is productive and helpful to your life rather than harmful to you physically and mentally. So, here are a few ideas for, stress relief measures, okay? Maybe you do deep breathing. I'm telling you, somebody said to me yesterday, breathing can heal anything. And I think there's really some legitimacy to that. Deep breathing, it can do the trick, okay? Yoga. A lot of people just tell me yoga is amazing, and I am not a regular practitioner, I have to admit, but I do occasionally indulge, and I think that it is wonderful. I wish I would be more committed to my yoga practices, but it does work for some people, okay? And then other things to think about, aromatherapy. That doesn't require anything at all, except, again, I think it partially is related to the deep breathing that goes with it. But in general, they've proven like lavender and certain other types of essential oils can be really beneficial to you during times of great stress. You can visit queenbeing.com and learn some more about that. And actually, Kim Saeed over at Let Me Reach talks a lot. She has way more information than I do about aromatherapy. You might want to check that out. Hypnosis. I've got some information on self hypnosis over at queenbeing.com. Connecting with friends by socializing, doing some Tai Chi. I like Tai Chi. Meditation. And if you're like me and you can't sit still, maybe your meditation is similar to mine, in which is a walking meditation. I have written about that a couple times at queenbeing.com, and I'll do a video on that soon. Um, Learn to say no to other people's demands. So sometimes you've got people from your personal life, from your kids' school, from church, from work, whatever it is, trying to get you to take on more responsibilities. So if you need less stress, you know what? Don't be afraid to say no. Okay, every now and then it's okay. And it's okay if you say no every time. Do what feels good to you. I understand that it's very hard for us to say no sometimes, especially people who have been involved with narcissists, because we tend to be empathic and we tend to be driven by A, the desire to make other people happy, and B, the desire to prevent other people from having negative emotions, because it hurts us when other people around us hurt or feel angry with us or things like that. But listen, you can literally die if you don't take care of yourself. So sometimes just say no if you need to. It's okay to take a day off. If anger is your primary reaction when something upsets you, then you need to focus on anger management. So then you can control your reactions to the daily stress that you undergo. And you can let go of any grudges that you've been holding against other people, because it only wears you down physically and emotionally. You feel me? All right, so let's talk about embracing a positive mindset, okay? So it's been proven that optimists live longer than pessimists. So that's because those who look at life with a, sort of, look at that typo, with a glass half empty, idea, are often suffering from heart sabotaging issues like depression and anxiety and other various issues that go along with PTSD and CPTSD. Okay, but it's not as easy as just flipping a switch and suddenly thinking that all rainbows and unicorns, woo. In fact, it's really not anything like that. You can't, supposedly wear, you can't really wear rose colored glasses and be fake about your life, but you can change your perspective. Okay. So, what you need to do is you need to work on a mindset that is where you're realistic about what life has given you, because you have to acknowledge what is if you're ever going to overcome it, right? And then you do that with a positive attitude that you're capable of working through any issues that arise. So, that doesn't necessarily mean that you expect that everything's going to, be all hearts and flowers from now on, right? But you have to stand up and you have to pull yourself up, by the britches or whatever, and you have to say, listen, you have been through hell and you can continue to survive this. Now, you can choose to do it as an individual, who is a positive thinking, happy, forward moving individual. And happy is obviously a relative term, but when you stand up and you feel that your inner strength rise up inside of you, maybe you don't feel the kind of happy that you would like to feel right now, but you can feel the kind of happy that means knowing that you are strong and you don't have to take this and you can just do it. Okay. You've got this. Don't beat yourself up anymore. Okay. You just know that you can do this. All right. So, how does that, what you have to just recognize there's always going to be stress in your life. It is unavoidable. It's going to happen whether life is with or without a narcissist. But when you have the right attitude, the right mindset, and you can meet situations head to head and handle them with ease, it life is going to get so much better, okay? So every day you need to reiterate to yourself that you are capable of handling anything that comes up, okay? Stay level-headed about what's going on. Don't overreact and make a big deal out of something that than it really is. So you can sit around and cry about stuff if you want to. But if you're going to do that, this is my tip from me to you. Take a few minutes and go, okay, I'm going to decide right now that I'm only going to cry about this or be sad about this and for a specific amount of time. Now that sounds ridiculous because it sounds like you really can't control your emotions. So how can you tell yourself that you can only cry for 2 days or 28 hours or whatever you want to pick about this particular thing, right? I like to go, depending on the severity of the situation, anywhere from, an hour to a week. And I like to say, okay, I'm going to let myself, mourn this or cry about this or be sad about this for this amount of time. Mostly I like 1 day or less, but you need to work, do what works for you. And then I'm going to continue my life and I'm going to move on. And then I'll only allow myself to be sad about it if I really need to after that. Okay. Because the truth is, if you spend time allowing yourself to mourn, you're going to be able to move on faster, more effectively, and without so much of the common, so many of those strings that like to stick between you and a narcissist when you try to move on. Okay. So, you know, you just have to focus on that. You have to take a deep breath and you have to look at whatever's happening and you have to think logically about how you can make it better. Don't let feelings of doom and gloom overrun your thoughts. Okay. The fact is that most likely the worst case scenario is not going to happen in most cases. And even if it did, it's not going to be the end of the world because you can recover from it. But how can you get a better mindset that helps you, sort of be vaccinated against stress and protect your heart? Well, I know you're not going to want to hear this, but practice positive affirmations, okay? This is when you vocally and mentally reaffirm to yourself that things are going to be okay. I've got a couple of daily meditations available on my channel for you in a playlist. I'll try to link that. But some people, do like to start their day off and end it this way, and or call on positive affirmations during times of crisis. And there's a science to it. When you do this, your mind begins to change your perception and your body and your life literally follow in kind. Okay. Okay. And you're going to want to smile. So research is going to show that smiling actually improves your stress handling abilities. I've actually written about this at Queen Being as well, but there's a science to it. So you need to smile fully, where your eyes and the muscles around your mouth actually change shape. Even if it feels fake at first, it can literally directly and very, very quickly affect your stress levels significantly. So, laugh a lot, do something that, that's going to bring you that kind of joy that causes you to smile, whether it's a funny TV show or a date night out to a live comedy club with a good friend, or if your spouse or your loved one that isn't a toxic person can go, if this isn't who you're here to listen about, if it's a parent or a friend, maybe your spouse could be your date or your boyfriend, girlfriend. But in any case, laughter can help you physically and emotionally. When you laugh, the lining of your blood vessels literally dilates and improves your blood flow. Did you know that? Laughter literally directly affects your ability to continue to have your blood flow properly. So get some laughs on, y'all, okay? Finding ways to manage stress isn't just going to ensure that your heart's protected, it's going to give you a better quality of life and it will improve your current and future relationships as well, the non toxic ones. Okay. So that's all I've got for today. Now, before I close, I'd love to know if you've personally managed to go no contact with a person who has been toxic for you and what your biggest struggles were. And if you did it, what worked for you? If you haven't gone no contact, would you please tell me what are your biggest struggles? Because I would love to address those in future videos if I haven't addressed them already. Okay, I really want to be able to help you. And please, if you look at that, another typo. I'm sorry about that. But you never know, who you're going to be able to help when you start to share your own thoughts and experiences here on, whether it's on my YouTube channel or on Facebook or in the private span group or anywhere, on my site queenbeing.com. If you share your experiences and your thoughts on how you survived it and what you struggle with, you can be letting another survivor know, A, that they're not alone, and B, that there are things that can be done and that life does get better. And just if we can provide that for our fellow victims and survivors, we will have done one more thing you know, that makes the world a better place just a little bit. So I would love it if you would help me pay it forward by doing that. All right, that's all I've got. Until next time, I'm Angie Atkinson. If you want to learn more about narcissism and narcissistic abuse recovery, visit queenbeing.com. Visit narcissismsupportcoach.com. And to check out my books, go ahead and visit booksangiewrote.com. All right, I will see you next time. Have a wonderful week.